All right, floor lunge. So our floor lunge is going to have our working leg on the ground and our non-working leg on the carriage. So you want your toes about 6 to 8 inches off the front edge of the carriage. And we're gonna start to sink down into a lunge. So some form notes here. Front knee stays right over the ankle. We're gonna hinge from the waistline and then drive up through the standing leg. So this is a pretty big stretch on your hip flexor on the opposite side. So if needed, you can take, Alexis, you can show, the knee down onto the carriage. And we also don't want your posture here in your lunge. We need to be sure we're shifted forward and slowly driving up, tucking under, squeezing the glute at the top. Next, we have front floor lunge. So this is a similar movement, but we're gonna set up in front of your platform. Working leg stays on the ground, non-working leg goes over your platform, okay? So think about here, you want the glute and back of the hamstring to try to tap your platform. So we're gonna sink down into the lunge nice and low, and then with control, drive up through the heel, tuck and squeeze at the top. Again, this is a lot on the non-working legs hip flexor. So if you're only here, that's totally fine. But we do want to encourage this shifting back. So we're not coming forward like this. Shift back so the front knee is in the proper alignment here in the lunge. Okay, now we have rear floor lunge. So remember, anything at the back of your machine is going to be the most difficult version of your exercise. So shoulder block can stay in or out. I'm gonna take it out, you leave yours in, okay? We're gonna set up for this is really important. So you're gonna kind of put your foot here on the ground as if it was tucked under your bar. Then we're gonna pull the carriage back, and you have two options. I'm gonna stay kneeling, you can stay, or let's reverse, yeah. So you kneel, I'll come up. So we're gonna sink down into your lunge here, hinging forward, so you won't be able to go as low, Alexis. And then you're gonna drive up. Now we're pulling against the tension of the springs. So lowering down, knee stays over the ankle, drive up with control, front leg is your primary worker. So for this exercise, there's no spring modification. Like you would not wanna go to a no spring version of this as your modified. You would want to take them to the front of the machine to do side floor lunge here as the modification for reverse floor lunge, okay? If you take no springs on, it's just gonna make the carriage have no support, and it's gonna be a little bit dangerous because it's just gonna quickly move back and forth, and they could lose their balance and fall or not be in control. Interior floor lunge. So this is a reverse exercise as well. Yeah, we can move the bar out of the way. Okay, so set up for this, really important, pay attention. You're going to take your shin of your working leg as close to this little back wooden platform as you can, hands onto the white pegs. Take your opposite foot behind you, and all we're gonna do is sink down into the lunge and let the back foot slide. So where my foot stops and where her foot stops is different based on our height, okay? Now let go with your hands, and we're gonna bring the carriage up with us as we drive and squeeze, hinging from the waist, coming forward, front knee stays over the ankle. I am gonna go handless. Alexis is gonna use her hands for just a little bit of support. Now this is a difficult lunge in itself because you're pulling against the spring. So just be aware of that. When you're teaching it, you might need to offer a little assistance here with the hands down on the white pegs. We've got a reverse single leg squat on our back platform. This setup for this is a little tricky as well. So you're gonna cue your clients to take their foot up onto the small piece of wood, the rear platform, reach down, grab the strap, pull the carriage to you before you do anything. So you should be here and your hands are holding the carriage. Step up with the right leg and then put the left foot onto the carriage. okay? You're gonna see really crazy stuff with this if you do not cue that properly. All right, single leg squat. So the platform leg is your working leg. The strap is helping you as much as you want. So I'm gonna hardly use the strap. Alexis is gonna use the strap a whole lot. So we'll sink down into the movement. Notice our weight is staying over the platform and drive back up and squeeze. So we sink low, shift the hips back. The mirror is really nice to use for this one. And drive up. What we don't want is for our weight to release over the carriage. We need to stay stacked over the platform, and we also don't want the upper body to cave. So we've got a strong upper body, and you can offer maybe for an advancement not to use the strap at all as you come down and up. And then to get out of this, you gently will let the carriage release and step down. All right. We've got our lunge with a row. So for this one, bar can be to the front or the back. Your working leg is gonna be your interior leg. So leg closest to the machine, working leg. Opposite arm has the strap. Okay, so the lunge position, most simply, is just here. We're going 90-90 lunge, row with your arm, and press up. Couple form notes. The further back I am, the heavier I'm gonna be on my arm, okay? The further this way I am, the lighter. So the adjustment of the body position is gonna adjust the weight. All right, we typically build some variations here. So let's just take a few variations, Alexis. Come down into your lunge. Let's come up and add a knee drive at the top. Yep. And now let's add a pulse at the bottom of the lunge. And now maybe we hold the lunge and just row the arm. And you can also add a little deadlift here in this position, using the weight of the strap for a little bit of balance as you come down and up.